Yo, I love this post.
You will fight for your life on the street, but you won't fight a paper. You won't fight an exam. You won't fight a standardized test. Don't back up on no test. You approach the test the same way you approach somebody who approached you on the street.
This post from Eric Thomas, the hip hop preacher, reminds me of a concept that I come up with some time ago. It's called giddy up toughness versus circumstantial toughness, right? And so circumstantial toughness is the first example that Eric Thomas gives when he's talking about somebody who's raised in the streets, and because when they're in the streets, they got a certain amount of fortitude, a certain amount of will. There's a certain fear factor that encourages them to be more productive, to kind of get after it, even though they might be a little bit intimidated, right? But then you take that person out of the streets and put them in the classroom, all of a sudden, all that fortitude, all that will, all that courage goes out of the window, right? So he's saying, listen, I wanted to see you be as tough as you are in the streets, in the classroom. So circumstantial toughness, and that's many of us. Many of us, if you put us in certain spaces, we become, superheroes. And then all of a sudden you take us out of a certain space and then we become something less than, right? And the goal is for us to be what I call giddy up tough. And giddy up tough is simply this. I know there's a job that has to be done, and I'm gonna get to it, right? Doesn't mean I'm not intimidated, doesn't mean I'm not scared, doesn't mean that I don't feel overwhelmed, underprepared, so on and so forth, but I'm still willing to go into the smoke. I still got enough courage to deal with everything that I'm dealing with on the inside, but still march toward the smoke, go toward the heat, because I know I gotta get something done. And I know that if I get this done, it impacts me, it impacts my family, it impacts the community, and it also will impact the industry. So all I'm saying is this, man, our goal is to be giddy up tough. Giddy up tough. And what you gotta do is, man, when you go into that situation, you gotta allow fear to encourage you to do something productive, right? And let fear to make you think, man, I wonder what happens if I don't get this done. I wonder what happens if I don't go get closer to the heat. I wonder what happens if I run away from it, right? And hopefully that will put you in a position where you are more so giddy up tough than circumstantially tough. I hope that makes sense, man. Shout out to Eric Thomas for the motivation and inspiration, man. Appreciate you. And with that being said, my name is Marv Fox Jr. I help highly courageous and ambitious people discover their purpose in 2 simple questions. Done.